I have my two members of the Punjabi Market Association, our Secretary Harinder Singh Toor and President Kebal Singh Pavla. And we go a long way to 70s when we work with other members to take that height what Ajay mentioned in 90s. And then the new generation came along with the Guljar Nanda, and that's make a difference like past, present, and future of Punjabi market. Now we look on those youngsters to give us a hand and make it happen, and also look at, because we have a presence of the city, their staff from the Member of Parliament, Minister of Defense, Honorable Harjit Sajjan. Eric is here. So is Joy from our MLA, Michael Lee, whose presence is already in Punjabi market. And also we have Bernie Simpson, who have a very good association with the Punjabi market from day one, even when he became MLA. So he have a short time to serve, so we could not use him at that time. Maybe he can tell us why it's not happened when he was a MLA out there. So anyway, we have lot to say to all those MLAs who were before or who are at present, to ask them, knock at their door, that look, this is a historic moment for South Asians and Canadians alike, because it's not a market for South Asians only, because it's an acknowledgement that it is run by Punjabi market, was established by South Asians, but it's also have open door for all Canadians to come and serve and get served by the people who are there already. Because old days when I came to Canada, I remember people were just shying away from curry. Now it's become a delicacy for every household of Canada. I mean, even I go to Britain, and they say like no function is completed until they have a samosa or curry. So we have come a long way. Now curry becomes a national dish. All Canadians, I like to convey that Punjabi market need and help from three levels of government. It started from City Hall, and we thank you, and it will look at the BC government and federal government, because it is a acknowledgement to the South Asian. When we have the Punjabi market started in 70s, and I opened my office in there as an insurance office, first of its kind for that area, in 77, 76 somewhere, and people rush from all over North America whenever they come to Vancouver. They thought, oh my God, we belong to this country, we belong to this land. So we like to thank you all those who come and help us, and we look forward for the younger generation to come forward and make it horizon again. This is what the goal of Punjabi Market Association, along with our youngsters, so we can have it happen. So thank you very much for coming, and I'd like to once again thank the City Hall that they have taken the initiative, and hope it will be delivered. Thank you.
Take some and entertain them, and then we'll continue. And just say your name and which.
What are the challenges facing the market right now?
Great, good question. So Dylan, do you want to answer that? And then I'll answer after that.
Well, it is facing a challenge because it needs a facelift so people can be attractive to this beautiful area. And it is lacking from the government level that they should recognize it as a historic place and get it done. And this is a challenge, big challenge. Then we have other areas along with us, like I can give you a little bit of a history. Punjabi markets, when it started at this year before, Khalsa Diwan Society moved their temple from 2nd Avenue to Ross Street. And we also have seen the growth of YMCA. and Langara College, Oak Ridge Center, because Oak Ridge was a big blow to that area, and then we survived and come to that standard. And we look forward that we can make it happen, and with the new model, new challenges, and with the help of the three level of government and the community, we can make it happen.
Just wanted to understand more.
Yeah, and I'll just answer, what was the name again? Tony from Global, and then we'll get to yours. I just want to also acknowledge, like Mr. Sidhu Uncle was saying, Uncle G was saying, the history has been, complex. So the community has been very strong and doing great business and doing a lot of seva. As people might not know or may know, Vaisakhi Parade and Vaisakhi Festival and the Naga Kirtan, Vancouver had one of the first ones about 40 years ago. And in the world, Surrey now has the largest Vaisakhi Parade. The Vaisakhi Parade still continues right now and is very strong. Over 100,000 people come from all walks of life to participate in this wonderful thing. So there's still a lot of strength from the community. I think one of the big things that we've seen over the last 30 years is that the city and some of the councils, even though their heart is in the right place, they had never continued their commitments. And I think that's where we saw a lot of lack of support from the city. With this new council, we have Pete Fry here, we have Adrian Carr, we have Christine Boyle, Sarah. We feel like this council has really shown their support at the next level, and we're really looking forward to getting their support. In about 2016, we saw 1/3 to 1/4 of the storefronts empty. In the last 2-3 years, we've actually made it less than 10%. So we are trying to bring local businesses. We acknowledge that we want to bring other businesses here that aren't South Asian and also South Asian to work together and to make this a vibrant community again. Okay, sure. Yeah, and that's a question that we get a lot of times. I'll start, and then maybe Sidhu Uncle can finish it. Like I mentioned, a lot of people think that there's just one homogeneous South Asian community. We're quite diverse. So in Surrey, we have a lot of diverse community there from the South Asian community, which is, whether it's South Indian, North Indian, and also all the other communities of South Asian heritage, and as well in Vancouver. The South Asian community is actually the second largest visible minority community in Vancouver right now. Yes. In Vancouver, 60% of Vancouver is actually non-white, and that includes Indigenous as well. So when we look at our demographics, people can say some of the businesses have moved to Surrey. That could be partly true, but what we're finding in talking to the elders and the aunties and the people who run their businesses and worked and lived in that community, made their families there, they're saying that they wish that they had more support from the governments and support of other players in the city to help keep the businesses there. So if that does happen, we have a lot of young generation behind me and with us. They're really excited to open their doors, whether it's a new kale samosa place. We also have here a local-based company called Plant Veda. This is actually plant-based lassi. If people know lassi, it's a really nice drink that is refreshing. They're there. So I think there's a lot of excitement. Everyone's looking for new places to open their shops. We hope that they can call Punjabi Market home. Surrey, we want to respect them. It's not a competition. It's actually a collaboration. There's different types of businesses catering to all types of communities, and we really want to work with Surrey as well. I'll let Sidhu Uncle add a bit.
And also we look at, like old and new mixed, so we can also see the reality of Punjabi Market and also the new look of Punjabi Market. I mean, we can see those beautiful those boxes which served mithai, and also we can see the lassi and a new bottle. That's a good mix, Right. And we look forward for the youngsters to come and open their stores with the new ideas and keep the old in mind, so we can have an old as the gold and also the young generation to lead the Punjabi Market Association and make it happen. That's what we're looking at. There's no shortage of people in Vancouver. South Asians are quite good numbers. Also, we see the Canadians, they also like to shop in this area. And because Langara College is there, YMCA is there, people come, and even Sunset Community Center is there. So people come to use their services, and they want to spread out and shop around or mingle around with them. So we want to make it a mingling place at the same time as a shopping place. Thank you.
I'll invite people.
I think it's important to recognize that as a city, the city of Vancouver, we're looking to build complete communities. So we don't necessarily want our significant South Asian population feeling that they have to travel all the way to Surrey to get the delicious taste of home or lassi or or to fabric shop for saris or what have you. We want to have those kind of opportunities right here in the city of Vancouver. So it's a well-serviced, accessible point, and this is a great opportunity for us. You know, a number of our staff have been here today, and I know that a lot of them are really supportive of this and looking forward to the work ahead. There's an opportunity for us as a city to do those little changes, be it with planning and engineering and making more active participation areas, or adding plugs so we can have lights at Diwali, to the lamp standards, just little things like that. Street beautification. There's a lot that we can do to help move this along. And you know, as I mentioned earlier too, with our federal and provincial partners, I think this is an opportunity. We're sending a signal that we'd like to see. This is what we would like to see as a city, and how can we get there, and how can we facilitate the community to help make this happen? How can we work with our senior government partners to help make this happen? And it's a great opportunity. I think we're going to get there really soon.
Thanks so much, Pete Fry. Anisha Gray.
I hear the "what about Surrey" question. I reflect on the makings of this country, the makings of this city, and its history of colonialism. And when I think about that, I question, why push us out of Vancouver? Vancouver has an identity in Canada's national identity. And it's really telling when community members of Vancouver say, well, you can just be pushed into a city that not only is known for being an ethnic enclave for South Asians, but then furthermore, what's the view of South Asians in Surrey? So I'm from Surrey, and I've grown up with the stereotypes and the oppression, frankly, that comes with being a brown girl from Surrey. And I just think it's time that we recognize that there's space for all of us. There's space for all of us in our communities, and especially Vancouverites. There's no place here, like I said, to connect with our identity, and that has really bad consequences for the next generation. Thank you.
And my fellow councillors too.
Yeah, and Sarah, come over here. You know, Sarah Kirby is quite known to the Punjabi market area. She always visits Punjabi market whenever she's there, and like the samosa. So is Adrian Carr. Oh my God! You know, we got to.
Love it.
That's right.
I think
Yeah.
we have
Across neighborhoods throughout Vancouver and communities beyond the Punjabi market, but felt acutely in the Punjabi market, and that's why we have to create a really positive context. One of the things that this council did recently was take a decision to do a shift in the property tax to take 2% away from the commercial business. That's not the silver bullet. We need to do a lot more, but we knew that the community needed immediate relief for that to happen. And the other thing is to look at how we incubate spaces. So, does the city have access to land in the Punjabi market area where we can support industrial startups and new businesses? It was mentioned with the Lassie, the green economy, and so it's really having incentives in place to support those small business. And there's a lot more that I think that we need to do. Most of our businesses in the city of Vancouver are small businesses and serving. And if we lose those city servicing businesses, it has a huge impact on the economy. So when we talk about housing, which is acutely felt, and when Councillor Pete Fry mentioned complete communities, we need to look at businesses because the economy factors into ensuring that people have the ability to stay in those communities. So I'm really excited to work with such an entrepreneurial community, and we've got the founders of the Punjabi market here. But I think that's a really big part of the conversation is how do we go beyond some of the initial steps that council has taken, like the tax shift, to support small business, to create a better environment, whether that's looking at different property tax work that's happening between the city, and those conversations are happening now with the provincial government, so that we can manage and address some of the issues like businesses being taxed on highest and best use of property. So that's very much on council's radar, and that's a priority for us, and we'll continue that work alongside the opportunity to visibly celebrate and mark the Punjabi market area.
Split tax assessments on small businesses is incredibly important, and our council is moving forward with investigating that, because that is one of the biggest reasons, or the biggest complaints we get from small businesses whose tax rates have gone up phenomenally. The other thing is to look at the launch of our citywide plan, which is coming, and the importance of creating, as Councillor Fry said, complete communities where local serving businesses are incredibly important. I expect that to be a very robust discussion as we move forward, because I haven't met a Vancouverite who doesn't cherish the local businesses that serves their needs.
We'll get Gulzar.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you. Actually, the zoning bylaw can help us, because like Gulzar have a property. If he wants to open within his property, the model of New Delhi, if you have been to New Delhi, there are different models. So which we can discuss with the council and see if he want to develop that way to get in, make a mini mall type of thing.
I think that modern models of running businesses are really important, including using co-use spaces, having different partners come together and to share costs. And I think that our work here in the Punjabi market is to sort of foster that type of relationship between people, is how do we come together as a community and bring that vibrancy back to the Punjabi market, and that means that we have to work together. Well, I think that throughout the history of the Punjabi market, there's been an inverse relationship with rents and the Punjabi market. This time you're speaking of when it was affordable, the Punjabi market was not affordable. Back then, the rents for a small shop, 1,000 square feet, was $5,000 to $10,000 per month. Now we have some of the most affordable rents in the Punjabi market. That's why in the last few years, you've seen a lot of new businesses come into the market and engage in short-term leases. There's still some vacancies, and we want to be able to work with our partners to increase the use of the small amount of space. And I believe that the City of Vancouver in their citywide process are going to include a growth.
Build up the momentum coming into the 50th anniversary and use it actually as a tool to facilitate our citywide planning process. So we're actually embarking upon a citywide planning process. We want this to be part of it. And we have excellent staff, and we've now sort of sent them the signal as a council. We've said, this is a direction we'd like you to pursue. We'd like to have you put your, again, that's part of like moving towards this 50th. We would like to see an opportunity to make the 50th an opportunity for community engagement even. So a big celebration around Punjabi Market's 50th and a chance for community engagement at that time.
Yes. I'd like to bring back Gulzar Nanda to just give a short comment.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet, everybody. The Punjabi market is important, but it's not the only place that's important in the city. There's a lot of important places. And if you look at what's going on in the world right now, there's division, cultural identity is being squashed, but the city of Vancouver is trying to buck that trend. Even the mayor, when we were presenting as a group to city council, said that one of his main concerns is being able to allow the members of the city to be able to practice their identity and their culture. And we're proud to be Vancouverites because Vancouver is bucking the trend in the world right now.
Yeah. Ek do teen, paneer. And then we do a bale bale photo too. So if you know any Bhangra, you just put one hand up, one hand down.
Put that song on.
Oh, we need our song. That's right, at the end, yeah. So just put your hands up, everyone.
No, don't put a hand up. Somebody's gonna face cover.
No, but like in front. Not up like this, but like this. Yeah, a little bit. Nice work. Bale bale. Oh, bale bale. Oh. Safa's liking it. I think Safa wants to go on the mic.
How did you do that?
I'm buffers, energy. Thank you. So, did everyone get their photo?
This is a hub of commerce, but really is a hub of community. And as the city continues to grow and densify, these spaces for cultural exchange and community dialogue are critical as we look to decolonize this city. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this project goes next and to continuing to support and seeing the Punjabi market continue to grow and thrive for another 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexander.
The Vancouver diversity and inclusion cultural communities, and I believe supporting newcomers or people who've been in the past, providing to the city is important for us as a Latino community. People were asking why it's important to rehabilitate the Punjabi market, but people is forgetting the major revenue to a city is small businesses. And small businesses are the ones who provide more opportunities to people who are part of the city.
A lot of work in the community and also a lot of work in our city. He's also taken a lot of trade missions back home to India, and we'd really like to welcome Bernie Simpson.
Shukriya. This celebration coincides with exactly the same date that I got involved in the Indo-Canadian community, May 31st, which, by the way, was my birthday, of 1970. My first acquaintance with the community was when I was chair of the Canadian Cancer Society campaign. And once it was found out that I was the chair, the young leadership in the Indo-Canadian community stepped forward and said they want to be involved. That young leadership is not so young anymore. Kiwal, Daljeet, Harjinder, my good friend Sucha Claire.
How much money we raised?
I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
Sucha Claire. But this amazing group, which was 24 people, were an example to all the other ethnic communities, and they raised over $200,000 for the Canadian Cancer Society. That was my first experience with them. Then time went on, and they felt that I should do a little bit more for the community, because they did so much for the general community. So they ensured that I got elected as the member of the legislature for Vancouver-Fraserview. And that 5 years that I spent as the MLA, which included for the Punjabi market, was the best years of my life. I'd gone to India at least a half a dozen times leading trade missions, and I saw for myself this phenomenal community which was really in its infancy. The focus in the last few minutes has been on the future, and I have no doubt that there's a great future for the Punjabi market here in Vancouver. The fact is that when I first started getting involved in the community and in my law practice, the community was a poor community. I remember when I would shake the hands of some of my Indo-Canadian clients, I always knew where they worked. They worked in the mill because a finger was missing. And when I got a first settlement for some of our clients, you know the first thing they bought? Was the Encyclopedia Britannica for their mundas and curries.
Yeah.
Mundas and curries, that's the first thing they got.
Yeah.
Except Malkeet Purall, who bought a little blueberry farm. Yeah. And that was the owner of the biggest blueberry farm in North America. But what is so encouraging to me today is the youth that I just finished meeting. And that, for that reason, I have no doubt that the future is bright. I haven't had the honor of meeting the council, Adrian and Mr. Fry, Pete. I've been out of politics for many years. I'm looking forward to speak to you afterwards. There's a reason why the Indo-Canadian community has evolved into the most significant political and economic ethnic community in Canada. And this is because of their faith, their determination, and their good citizenship. The Indo-Canadian community is involved in every aspect of our life, including being Premier of this province of British Columbia, a Defense Minister, a Premier. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
And I have no doubt with the youth behind you and everybody being united in the community, there is a role. And I envision the day when the Punjabi market will be the destination point for those tourist buses that come through the city. And all of you have made good points as to why the market will thrive, and I have the utmost confidence that you're going to succeed.
Thank you so much,
Shukriya.
Freddie. Thank you, sir.